I think this episode was part of the AMA that they were doing, but apparently there's some pretty good lore stuff here, so let's check it out.
I am the Emperor. For millennia have I stridden across life, carefully watching as the seed of what is to come has risen from its earthly barrows into the starlit sky. This seed, known as mankind, I have existed along from the time of my birth. I let the seed grow, I nurtured it, did my best to have it remain healthy and secure. But as it kept on growing, I could not keep up. I could not come with it, but could only watch from afar as its health deteriorated and vegetation grew bleak. As I entered into the realm of the half-life, the only thing I could experience was despair. My work that I had driven to construct for such a long time had been obliterated in but a mere moment.
This is extremely dramatic, but also quite understandable from the viewpoint of the Emperor, who had seen mankind ever since, well, not really the beginning, but for a extremely, extremely long time. To be a perpetual and to see all of the ups and downs that humanity goes through, to guide them here and there, but whether or not they kind of follow your guidance is also another thing. Like, you can't just order everybody around, you have to manipulate it, because, well, humanity has its own thoughts and ways of doing things, and that has kind of led us to where we currently are, especially without the Emperor's guidance. It's a lot, and yeah, I don't know, I kind of feel for the Emperor here.
Mankind, my once pure seed, had fallen into the hands of sheer, corrosive and preposterous prudence. And at no other time has this been displayed as intensely as this very moment. Because holy fucking shit, these questions are the worst fucking shit I have ever.
And then we're back to reality. Or, well, reality as it is within the TTS universe.
Read whatever became of mankind.
I don't think I don't see that. The sun changes to, like, instead of a U and O.
Now, my lord, let me remind you that you were the one who came up with this idea in the first place.
That's your fault because you haven't informed me well enough about how incredibly, disgustingly fucking idiotic mankind has become.
Always has been.
I just thought you were a
Bro, I think this every single time I open Twitter. Like, everybody has some sort of extremely stupid take that they need to let everybody know about, and all the people who have that same stupid take just kind of conglomerate together, forming some sort of strange community around a singular tweet. That's really not for me. I do have a Twitter, and occasionally I post things, but like, just messing around and seeing what the community does, it makes me really not want to open it.
Now, this makes me so sad.
Maybe you just misread or something. I mean, these questions couldn't have been that bad. Besides, what, we supposed to make fun of them? Here, let me read some to you.
Fuck it, go ahead. Let me plow through these one more time before I actually pass out and fall off this fucking chair.
Alright, let's see.
Would that even be possible?
From one apt to deny we. Some Holo Gothic. He says...
Even Kidden is just done with this. Like, he's like, can I even read this out loud to the Emperor? Oh boy, let's hear it.
Why Kron loves ponies.
Oh.
I have no mouth and I must...
Alright, fuck it.
Good reference. I've never actually read the books myself. I just know the entire story. I think it was from one of the videos Wendigoon did. I remember having it on my second monitor and just listening to it while working. It was actually, well, he made it sound like an extremely fascinating sci-fi story, and considering how many references are made to it, I would assume that it's extremely high quality. And also the kind of horror that I personally enjoy.
Okay, next question. This one is from one Joseph Lyons. He asks, "Oh, mighty God, Emperor of mankind, were you to send your sentience to a new body to rule once more and bring mankind back properly into the light that is your majesty, what would you demand as a first meal?
Bruh.
Something really tasty, I bet."
They had us in the first half, not gonna lie.
You get to ask one question. A question that could be whatever deep and philosophical inquiry that dwells inside the perplexing and winding wonders of the human mind that you could potentially come up with, and you ask about fucking food. Then again, I probably should not judge since the Imperium clearly is some kind of bureaucratic police state driven through ignorance and idiocy nowadays, so it is only natural for your regular RG world peasant to only ever think about food. As for an actual answer to that question, I'd probably go for some tacos.
Yo, that's pretty based. I don't remember the last time I had tacos, but they're really good.
This question is from one called, Demon Primarch?
What kind of asshole parents name their child Demon Primarch? Fucking seriously, it's like they want their child brutally lynched and burnt on a stake by the brainwashed masses.
I've got no parenting at its finest, my lord. Anyway, as for the question.
Hive ganger parenting? I think on the Hive worlds, there are like a ton of pretty much like biker gangs. or just like the massive criminal underbelly in the Hive worlds. So I would assume it's from that, and they kind of have to get together in order to survive.
Mighty Emperor, this is but a simple question I would have answered. Was there really a single guardsman who distracted Horus during your duel above his flagship? The legends tell of Olanius Pius doing some deed aboard that accursed vessel that assisted with Horus's downfall tremendously. But is any of it true?
He must be referring to that one regular old Imperial soldier that stepped in front of fucking Horus when he was about to finish me off after he had used some dirty chaos contrivances to punt me down on the ground. For being a regular human, Batman had such titanic fucking balls that I want to clap my hands vigorously just thinking about it. It is too bad that he was literally obliterated out of existence by Horus after making that selfless act. It's also too bad that I lack the hands to applaud him with. Typically from that point on, an Astartes Terminator and a Custodes did the exact same thing right after to prove that they were just as cool and selfless as that glorious bastard. I mean, can't you immortal superhumans of death and destructions let the regular Joes have this one thing? Come on, man.
Whoa, I'm taking that one. It's not like I was the one who told Santonis to throw himself in front of you with nothing but his loincloth to intimidate that Olanius guy. Anyway, next question. This one is from someone who signed himself up as...
I see. I never knew about that. What a mad lad and mad respect. But I guess it's... Well, I want to say that it's like the obvious thing to do because of how everybody views the Big E, and they would obviously give their lives in order to protect him. But then again, this was back during a time where they didn't exactly worship him as a god, right? That was during the Horus Heresy. And I can imagine that obviously you would know the power difference and the consequences of standing in front of a chaos-corrupted Horus. So regardless of that, it still takes some massive balls.
That person sounds like a ketchup enthusiast.
He asks, my lord, can love bloom in a battlefield? 32-6 asked for your blessing in his relationship with Toldir. Perhaps after you complete your webway, you can create peace among these two races. They're the last ones that need to fight each other.
I do hope this person realizes that the Eldar look at mankind like we would look at a primate. To them, we are unevolved
pretty
beasts,
much,
thinking
yeah.
in very simplistic thought patterns and only using the most simple of tools. So, to put it short, this Toldir is basically an obese chalice and is a sick fuck that will get all kinds of nasty interspecies STDs and will most likely kill half the craft world because of it. So yes, you have my blessing.
Wow.
What a perfect response. This is actually so good though, because this is all answered within like an in-universe perspective. So it gives me a much better idea of like how the Eldar view mankind, which I never really thought about, but considering how advanced the Eldar were, well, it's the entire reason why they ended up creating Slaanesh in the first place. But yeah, from their point of view, we're basically bumbling idiots. Their technology far surpassed ours, and they already had this fallout. And now they're kind of on the uprise. Well, not really. But they're way past where we currently are as a civilization. But I do wonder if there is any stories out there about like love between a human and a Xenos. I would assume probably. I mean, the universe is a massive place. There has to be like 1 or 2 stories out there. But obviously, since it's 40k, I'm going to assume that it all ends tragically. Because thinking about it, when it comes to relationships that I know about from the stories that we've looked at in 40k, it's always mostly been like human and human relationships or Xenos and Xenos relationships. Not that 40k is really focused on the romance aspect of it, but yeah, I can't really think of any examples.
Most of it probably retorted into bellowing about how absolutely downright heretical it would have been if he was given that question.
And you know how I feel about that, now don't you?
I suppose so. It's not like I'm scared to death that every time you're upset over nothing.
Bruh. Wait, which episode was it? I remember a particular episode where the Emperor was like, oh, I had to maintain the webways because I could afford the cheap Eldar prostitutes or something like that. So, yeah, I know deep down how Big E feels about them.
Okay, sorry, my lord. I don't have any emotions.
Yeah, you don't.
Anyway, next question. This one is from someone named Brent Keller. He asks, what happened to your left eye?
This is actually something I don't even know myself, and it still fucking infuriates me. Why do I only hit this visor on one of my eyes when both of them have obviously rotted away millennia ago?
That's actually a good question, yeah.
What is its purpose? I didn't even put it here.
Actually, I kind of know the answer.
Oh?
Well, after we escorted you in all haste towards the Golden Throne after your battle with Horus, Rogel Dawn accidentally managed to poke your eye out with his giant iron halo.
Oh.
You know, the whole sharp and pointy...
That makes sense,
being
yeah.
in the shape of the Inquiller and all.
I'm going to teach that boy a fucking lesson in how to not poke people's eyes out while wearing giant sharp arms when I get off his throne.
My
When you
lord,
do.
Rogel Dawn is dead.
That isn't fucking stopping me.
I can see the Emperor bringing him back to life just to kill him again.
I'm not even surprised. Anyway, next question is from Grey Knight 31.
Oh boy, a message from the prodigies of the Silver Baby Carrier.
He asks, are you going to send Drago to rehab? Dude needs help.
Dude needs help.
I thought we'd already decreed that members of the Inquisition would all be rehabilitated. Did that galaxy-wide message not actually get to anyone?
I bet they just neglect mail they consider bad like most feedback-phobic fucking snowflakes that exist in the galaxy. I'll have to rehash and create new means of getting the message across. One which cannot be negated by inquisitorial spam filters.
Moving on. Next up are a couple of questions sent from some warriors that are on their way to a planet known as Arcona, apparently. The first one is from Mark Ilario. He asks, what is your favorite color?
No.
Isn't that fucking obvious?
Second question from Arcona is from Vida Ra.
Wait, isn't it obvious? I'm going to assume gold?
He asks, what do you think of Miguel Caram?
I approve of him and his team, and he should continue to do what he is doing, because he's doing an excellent job.
I'm sorry, my lord, I think I'm out of the loop.
Yeah, who is this?
This is 4th degree warp realm fuckery. None of your concern.
Okay, great. Next question is from a...
1 second. Who is that? I'm gonna assume it's some sort of fourth wall breaking. It looks like the only thing I can find is that he's the studio head of Behavior Interactive's online games division and worked on Warhammer 40k Eternal Crusade. Is that the reference that we're going for here?
chaplain known as Valerius.
A chaplain, you say? Good. I assign chaplains to hold Marines in line and be as staunch and serious about their duties as possible. I have high expectations for this question.
He asks,
That is going to
why can't
be-
we all just be friends and stop fighting?
Yeah, there you go.
How it
Another
this
disappointment.
happened to me.
I made my mistakes.
Got
Got nowhere to run.
The night goes on as I'm fading away. I'm sick of this life. I just wanna scream. How did this happen to me?
Poor Emperor. He did his best to guide mankind, and now this is what
Next
it's
question
become.
is, dear Emperor, can you still
Poop. That is a good question, actually.
I'm a skeleton, so write about as much as you use your brain, you fucking halfwit. Next question.
Dear Emperor, when will the universe leave the year 999 millennium 41?
At the end of the year, just like every fucking year. Next.
Dear Emperor, how do you fap?
By thinking pleasant thoughts about your inevitable demise. Next.
Dear Emperor, what is the most fascinating thing you've ever seen?
Probably the intricate denseness of this fucking question. Next.
Dear Emperor, have you ever gotten laid?
More times than the entire fucking population of your planet, you rattling traitor. Next.
Dear Emperor, was it fatherly love that stopped you from striking down Horus, or did you have sexually confused...
What the fuck? Oh my god. Who is this man? He's a heretic, that makes sense. Oh, dude. I bet there's like some community out there of just like Warhammer 40k shippers. It goes crazy, man. Thankfully, I haven't been exposed to that side of the community yet. So I don't even know where to look, but I mean, it sounds really funny.
feelings for him?
I am deeply disgusted by you and I hope you explode. In fact... Okay, next.
I don't... Just said a simple thought. Your existence gets wiped out for leaving such a horrible question.
My lord, it's starting to sound like you're actually answering these questions now. I mean, no one's listening in, right?
No, but in case someone is, I hope they feel fucking awful right about now.
Dang.
Of course, nobody could be listening. It's this Imperial Palace.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, well, moving on then. Alright, slightly better question, I think. This one is from
Slightly
Lord
better.
Commissar Wolf, who says, O glorious Emperor, please share thy wisdom with your most loyal servants. Is there such a thing as enough thunder? While I abhor the Xenos term, everyone seems to be talking about and about how there will never be enough of it. What say you, my Emperor?
At the point in time when bullets can pass through the interdimensional walls, when firepower takes up the entirety and eternity of space and time, all being stuck in a never-ending life and death cycle as bullets recover and destroy their bodies in quick succession. No one able to think about anything but the sheer force of the bullets rapidly flying literally everywhere in the materium, turning the warp itself into nothing but a sea of semi-automatic weaponry. Then there will be enough Deca. Or at least almost.
What is Dakar anyhow?
The orc word for rapid firepower and multi-laser masturbation.
Oh! What? I did not know this. Interesting. But yeah, I kind of have to agree with Kid in here that maybe it would be better not to associate with that in my own mind. Because now whenever anybody goes DACA, that's probably going to be something that pops up in my mind at this particular TDS episode. Yikes.
Want to know that. Next question is from pretty much everyone. Seriously, there is a giant mountain of messages dedicated to just this one question. And it kind of disturbs me that so many have made it.
Oh boy, what is it?
Dear Emperor, what is your opinion on the Tau?
Oh,
Never
here
heard
we
of
go.
I figured as much.
So what are they?
Well, there's some minuscule Xenos race located on the eastern...
Actually, yeah, the Tau are new, right? So Big E would have already been sitting on the Golden Throne before they even came to power, or became relevant within the galaxy as a power. Which reminds me, I think, was it the Eldar, or was it Mankind that had actually happened upon the Tau? But at the time that they did, they were quite primitive, and so it was likely just something that they could ignore. But then they very rapidly came into power after that. I think that was how the story for the Tau went, but that also reminds me that I haven't actually done a deep dive on them just yet.
fringe of the galaxy. They're even less of a threat to us than the Dark Eldar, so it's not really worth talking about.
Why would so many people send in messages about a minuscule Xeno race located on the eastern fringe?
Well, you see, they have quite a impact on the metagame. But also, I think it was during the video on the Tyranids that we talked about how sometimes the Imperium of Man teams up with the Tau, because the Tau live on the far side of the galaxy where the Tyranids invade from, so they kind of have to work together sometimes in order to fight them back. So at least there is some interaction, but from Big E's perspective, yeah, it's not really any of his concern just yet.
Of the galaxy, but they aren't even a threat.
I've heard it's because despite being a small species, the Tau males are really overcompensating with their high-tech weaponry, and the Tau females have a tendency to lust for greater goods.
I'm sorry, what?
Greater
Despite
goods?
being such a small species, they have the most rapidly advancing technology in the galaxy, which also means they have really, really big scary guns.
I see. So that's what the Tau females are into. I'll make a mental note of that.
You can usually slap one and it'll fall over really quickly.
That's what I thought, I think. We'll talk more about this later. Still got more stupid questions to answer.
Yes, indeed. Like this one from Suika Ibuki. Probably from one of those fucking Tau planets. Who asks, since your body can no longer function properly, how about mounting the golden throne inside a dreadnought or a titan so you can kick ass again?
Don't you think that if I actually had that choice I would have made it already? I think you're not taking into account that the entirety of Terra will be swallowed by a giant warp rift, and everyone will fucking die if either I or the Golden Throne would leave this place.
I see.
That makes it not worth it, but only barely.
Now, next up is a question from someone who entitles himself as the Fresh Sorcerer.
What a fucking nerd.
He says, "Hey shitboot, want me and my brother to read you terrible shitty fanfics like the depraved, erogenous bedtime story to you and your Centurion? It's kind of always been a dream of his. And this is the year I promised to be nice to him."
Actually,
What
all right,
in the what?
Fuck it, I'm the motherfucking Emperor. Send out some Terran escorts to wherever the fuck those guys are, and pick them up so they can be converted into my personal bedtime story readers, but they are so insistent on doing it. My Centurion hasn't been able to sleep that well for the last couple of days anyway.
Poor
I feel
Centurion,
this is
man.
a perfect opportunity to continue my plans with the reformation of the Imperium by making some people actually become useful.
That sounds like an excellent idea, my lord. I'll prepare the shackles when we're done. Now, next up is a
Still gotta have a little bit of a backhanded compliment here. Can't fully accept it, you know.
question from someone called Dr. White. He asks where his fire support is.
Up his fucking nostrils. Next.
Oh, alright. This one is from someone apparently known as Johann Gasmask. He asks, seeing as science clearly dictates that diversity is the most efficient way for life to exist, why are you trying to exterminate all other life except humanity?
I am not trying to exterminate all other life, but rather keep it under some form of control. Xenos are often vile and untrustworthy, as they are out to maximize their own idea of peace and happiness in the galaxy for their own separate species in their own individual ways. The human idea of peace and happiness is to have the galaxy taken over so life can thrive without wars, poverty, nor petty hatred, all living in a bright and tranquil future as was mankind's birthright. Compare that to the Eldar who want to take over, so they can engage in fuckloads of raw, unfiltered, hedonistic super orgies again without getting into trouble.
Hell
Or the
yeah,
Nekrons
brother.
who want to take over for the purpose of sucking the souls out of all living things and going back to sleep again. Or the Orcs who just want to fight forever and make nothing of their lives. And let's not even get into those fucking Tyranids who just want to eat the whole galaxy and then move on to the next.
I mean, the Tyranids here are the ones that everybody is kind of having to go up against. Like, their only endgame is an absolute annihilation, whereas for everybody else, they at least have some sort of goal. For them, it's just food. I mean, you can't really blame the orcs. They were kind of made that way by the old ones, and the old ones left, so they don't have anybody to follow anymore. That's all that they know, and can know.
And just to let you know, my lord, the Tau are kind of in that same category.
I would be okay with Xeno races living in harmony with us if they didn't have such fucked up goals in mind for our galaxy. But, without Xeno life exterminated or under regulation, this is not an efficient way for human lives to exist, as it'll only get stabbed, sliced, chopped, and numbed to death.
Ooh, I love it when things make sense. Anyway, next
Dang. I mean, this is from an in-universe perspective. However, from what I know the Xenos races, it's pretty much the same thing. Like, it does kind of make sense that, yeah, they would have their own goals, obviously. And everybody believes that they're in the right, and so when you can't come to an understanding with each other, the only path left is war. To wish that all of these races could somehow come to an understanding to work together would be likely an impossibility. Like, even just looking among us humans, we can barely come to an understanding with one another. Like, just between two different countries with two different cultures. But just imagine, like, a completely different Xenos race who grew up in a separate galaxy and are biologically just completely different from us, thus kind of shaping the way that they live and the way that they think about their lives or other people's lives, you know? There's no way that's going to work. And it would take a extremely skilled, wait, what do you call it in English again? Statesman? To come to some sort of diplomatic agreement, which would probably be on an extremely small scale, considering the scope of the galaxy. I mean, even if we look at other sci-fi series, I can picture in my mind, I forget what its name is though, but like any sci-fi series that has some sort of galactic federation where aliens and humans and stuff kind of intermingle and come to some sort of a democratic agreement and stuff like that, there is going to be internal strife and political movements in order to gain advantage over one another. That's just the nature of things, so yeah, even then, no. Unfortunately, we can't be friends. I don't know if this is an incorrect perspective on things, but just, you know, this one answer to this question makes me think, you know, while there are probably many things within Warhammer 40k that are grimdark for the sake of being grimdark, there are also, like, situations like this where obviously it's understandable that this is just how it is, and there wasn't really any other solution to this problem.
We have Lunar Templar. Dear Emperor, besides swiftly unfucking the current state of the Imperium, which I figure would be a given, what's the first thing you would do where you would suddenly be restored to your former glory and rise to the Golden Throne?
Well, I have a pretty big to-do list, but as a start, I would do these things in this exact order. First, scratch my everything. Second, roll around on the floor and spasm violently. Third, take a shower.
I feel that. Yeah,
Fourth,
yeah,
punch
definitely.
everyone in the face. And fifth, tell everyone to never ever ask stupid fucking questions again.
Alright, next question.
This will be the last one.
Roger
I
that.
need to take a break and let my agony stabilize for a moment.
That's fair enough, my lord. Even I feel dirty after this. Ugh. Anyway, this last one was from someone called Magmos. Dear Almighty God Emperor of Mankind, if you wanted people to stop believing you were a god, why the heck did you run about worn a golden armor, wield a fiery sword, emit a blow pretty much all the time, and have other things of that nature? Seriously, man, you're kind of sending out some mixed signals there, you have to admit.
Okay, you know what? Magmos here kind of has a point. I mean, maybe the Emperor was just like, I mean, bro, it looks fucking cool. So why would I uncool myself? We'll see what his answer is.
Look, just because I want to wear ornate gold armor, wield a fiery sword, emit a glow pretty much all the time, and other things of that nature.
Yeah, see? I'm sure the Emperor dressed up for himself. That's what we're getting at here.
Doesn't mean I want to be looked upon as a god. I'm not the one who needs to be taught not to dress like a god. You're the ones who need to be fucking taught that considering people to be gods dependent on how they look is wrong. Besides, my head designer thought all the flashy golden bits really brought out the color of my eyes.
I've had the like, privilege of
that's
constantly being
cute.
dressed up in golden armor without anyone having to look up at me like a god.
Yes, people have got some serious beef with the new man, calling us gods and shit. Even though I am the only one who has the real rights to that claim. Additionally, I'm happy that you at least enjoy the privilege of wearing your fucking armor.
You and me both.
Oh, yeah, unlike the other custodies who are just, yeah, they got it all out there, you know. Which, some of you guys told me that that's, like, entirely accurate with how the custodies are. That's just how they were depicted, I guess, earlier on in Warhammer. So it's great that we kind of connected that to JoJo characters. That's awesome. And well-oiled
I
abs.
guess that wraps up this fun little event then.
Yes. Perhaps we will read through some more questions at some other point if I'm feeling incredibly masochistic.
Now, if I may ask, could you possibly tell me the good aspects about the stones now? You were just about to get onto that.
Ah yes, let me think.